She was recognizing the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Bakolumpe Kindergarten and Primary School in Ivana Stage 3 Lusaka District, and also recognized in the public gallery teachers from Great North Road Academy. And on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, did warmly welcome the members of Parliament.
Mr. Speaker!
Pictures on Parliament television. Business can only be transacted when a quorum is constituted. 1/3 of members of Parliament need to be present in the House in order for business to be transacted. And so, as soon as the quorum is formed, business will resume.
Yes, Coordinator, another time business was interrupted. It was Lufugu Member of Parliament, Mr. Wesley Kolala, who was on the floor of the House raising a point of order. So if business resumes, the member will continue. Goes back to the floor of the House for the resumption of business.
Order. When business was suspended, the House was considering the report of the parliamentary delegation to the 148th Interparliamentary Union IPU Assembly and related held in Geneva, Switzerland from 23rd to 27th March 2024, presented by the Honorable Member for Kalomo Central, and the Honorable Member for Lufugu was about to raise a point of order. May the Honorable Member continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you too, the people of Lufugu, are greeting you. The point of order, Mr. Speaker, is going to the Member of Parliament for Mpika, who on the floor of this House is recognized the appointment of President Mao Sampa. President Mao Sampa, the President of the Patriotic Front, who him and the many other PF members went to the mountaintop accusing the UPND to have sponsored Mao Sampa for a convention that they called.
Honorable Member, state what has been breached. Honorable Member, order. Avoid debating.
Relevance of speech, Mr. Speaker. Is he in order? Today, the person they said was illegally holding that position. Today, him and many PF members have recognized his appointment of the new leader of opposition. Is the Member of Parliament and many other PF members in order to recognize that after accusing UPND and calling UPND many names and making people of Zambia believe the UPND was involved?
Order. The Honorable Member for Kalulushi, avoid debating while I seated. Him has been given the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is he in order and many other PF members today to come and recognize the presence of Mao Sampa on the floor of the House, who they said he was illegal?
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Members. The Honorable Member has sufficiently debated his point of order. Honorable Members, I've got an announcement to make. There's a ruling that I want to render. Honorable members, the House will recall that on Friday, 28th June 2024, when the House was considering the ministerial statement by the Honorable C. Mulenga, MP, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, on the 72 billion proposed investment in Zambia led by VETZAM Diversified Corporation Limited, and Mr. F. R. Kampianga, Member of Parliament from Pika Central constituency, was on the floor. Honorable C. Mwetwa, MP, Minister of Information and Media, raised the point of order. The point of order was premised on Article 72, 2E, as read, with Article 72, 5 of the Constitution, Chapter 1 of the Laws of Zambia, which provides for the vacation of office as a Member of Parliament after expulsion from the political party that sponsored the Member of Parliament for elections to the National Assembly. Honorable members, in raising the point of order, Honorable Simwetwa MP explained on the 6th December 2023, the National Assembly received communication from Mr. Morgan Ngonga, the PF Secretary General, informing National Assembly for the expulsion of 9 Patriotic Front members, namely Mr. R.K. Chitotela MP, Mr. N. Chilangwa MP, Mr. M. Pakata MP, Mr. C. Kangombe MP, Mr. Aramtale MP, Mr. B. M. Munduwile MP, Mr. S. Kampiongo MP, Mr. M. Fube MP, and Mr. M. Kafwaya, members of Parliament for Mabashe, Kawambwa, Lupososhi, Kafinsa, Chitambo, Mpolokoso, Shwangandu, Chilubi, and Lunte constituencies, respectively. He stated that following the expansion from the PF, the 9 members took legal action against Mr. Maos B. Sampa, Member of Parliament for Matero constituency, Mr. Morgan Ngonga, the PF Secretary General and Attorney General. Honorable Sim Mwetwa, MP, further contended that since the communication of the expansion on the 6th December 2023, there's been no subsisting process challenging the legality of the expansion of the 9 PF members, an injunction or a restraining the expansion of the decision by the PF to expel them. He therefore inquired whether the 9 PF members were in order to remain in the House and partake in its business given the provisions of the Constitution and in light of the expansion from the PF. In my immediate response to the point of order, I reserved my ruling. I have studied the matter and will now render my ruling. Honorable members, the point of order by Honorable C. Mwetwa MP raises the issue of vacation of office as a Member of Parliament after expansion from the political party that sponsored the Member for elections to the National Assembly. The authorities on this matter are set out below. Article 72(2)(e), 5, 7 and 8 of the Constitution states as follows. The office of Member of Parliament becomes vacant if the member is expelled from the political party which sponsored the member for elections to the National Assembly. Where a Member of Parliament is expelled as provided in Clause 2E, the member shall not lose the seat until the expansion is confirmed by a court, except that where the member does not challenge the expansion in the court and the period prescribed for challenge lapses, the member shall vacate the seat in the National Assembly. Where a court determines that an expansion of a member as provided in Article 2E was justified, the member shall vacate the seat in the National Assembly. Where a vacancy occurs in the National Assembly, the Speaker shall, within 7 days of the occurrence of the vacancy, inform the Electoral Commission of the vacancy in writing, and the by-election shall be held in accordance with Article 57. Honorable members, Article 72(2)(e) of the Constitution above is instructive on the procedures to be followed when a Member of Parliament's seat becomes vacant. It states that the office of the Member of Parliament becomes vacant if the member is expelled from the party which sponsored the member for elections to the National Assembly. However, vacation of office as a member due to expansion is subject to Article 72(5) of the Constitution. Therefore, a Member of Parliament expelled from the political party which sponsored the member to the National Assembly shall not vacate the seat in the National Assembly until the expansion is confirmed by a court. However, the member does not challenge the expansion within the prescribed period, such member vacates the seat. Honorable members, it's only after the confirmation of the expansion by the court or the lapsing of the period within to challenge the expansion that my office is mandated. Under Article 72(8) of the Constitution, within 7 days to proceed to inform the Electoral Commission of Zambia of the occurrence of the vacancy, and the by-election shall be held in accordance with Article 57 of the Constitution of Zambia. Honorable members, in this case, I wish to confirm that my office received correspondences from Mr. Morgan Ngonga, the Secretary General of the PF, on the 6th December 2023, to the effect that 9 PF members have been expelled from the party. Consequently, on the 8th December 2023, the 9 members challenged the expansion by the way of a petition in the case of Honorable Ronald Stotela and 8 others versus Honorable Maus Sampa. Morgan Ngonga and the Attorney General 2023/CCZ/0028. There, amongst others, sought the following remedies from the court: a declaration that the purposed extraordinary convention held on the 24th October 2023 was illegal, therefore none and void, as it was in extra convention of Article 62 of the Constitution, Cap 1 of the laws of Zambia. A declaration that purposed election of Mr. Maus Sampa was also illegal, and therefore none are void. A declaration that the proposed appointment of Mr. Morgan Ngonga as PF Secretary General was illegal, and therefore none are void, as the appointing authority did not have the requisite authority to appoint anyone. A declaration that Mr. Morgan Ngonga, the proposed PF Secretary General, has no requisite authority to expel the petitioners or any other member from the party. A declaration that the action of the Speaker to act on the letters sent to her by Mr. Morgan Ngonga purporting to be the PF Secretary General was illegal, and therefore none are void. An interim order allowing the party to operate freely, and for Mr. Maus B. Sampa and Mr. Morgan Ngonga to be stopped from carrying themselves out as PF President and Secretary General respectively. Honorable members, in a ruling dated 27th June 2024, the Constitution Court dismissed the petition on account of lack of jurisdiction, as it did not have disclosure any constitutional issue, but required it to interpret violation of a political party constitution. In this regard, the court stated that the rest of the issues raised in the petition had been rendered irrelevant. The dismissal of the petition meant that there was no court process before the Constitutional Court challenging the illegality or otherwise of the expansion of the 9 PF members. Honorable members, I wish also to inform this House that following the ruling on the 27th June 2024, my office received correspondences from Mr. Maus B. Sampa, MP, in the capacity as President of the PF, reversing the expansion of 7 out of the 9 members. He indicated that The reversal of the expansion was in respect of Mr. Ara K. Totela, MP, Mr. Christopher Kangombe, MP, Mr. Ara Mutale, MP, Mr. B.M. Mundubile, MP, Mr. S. Kampiongo, MP, Mr. M. Fube, MP, and Mr. Kafwaya, MP. He further stated that the amnesty did not extend to Mr. N. Chilangwa, MP, and Mr. M. Pakata, MP. The two members remained expelled from the party. Honorable members, as a matter of practice, based on the political party's constitutional and administrative arrangements, all correspondences from political parties to the National Assembly is supported to be through their Secretary General. Therefore, since the correspondence was sent by the President of the Patriotic Front and not the Secretary General, Mr. Morgan Ngonga, the National Assembly cannot act on the communication from Mr. M.B. Sampa, MP, the party's president. It follows, therefore, that all members of the PF expelled remain expelled. In view of the fact that the members of parliament that were expelled had their petition dismissed by the Constitutional Court, the members were out of order to continue sitting in the House and take part in parliamentary business. Further, since there is currently no challenge of the expansion properly before the court, and the expansion having been effected in December 2023, I consider that a vacancy has occurred in the following: Babashe, Kawambwa, Lupososhi, Kafisa, Chitambo, Mpolokonso, Shwangandu, Chilubi, and Lute Koswensa. I evoke powers vested in me in Article 72(8) of the Constitution to write to the Electoral Commission informing it of the vacancies in the said constituencies effectively 27th June 2024. In view of the above order, I would advise Mr. R.K. Totela, MP, Mr. N. Chilangwa, MP, Mr. M. Mpakata, MP, Mr. C. Kangombe, MP, Mr. R. Mutale, MP, Mr. B. M. Mundubile, MP, Mr. S. Kangombe, MP, Mr. S. Kampiongo, MP, and Mr. M. Fube, MP, and Mr. Kafwaya. Leave.
Government, what's the now when you're out?
What is your problem, you?
Order. Hey, honorable members, order. Let's ensure that there's sanity in the house. Any further debate? The honorable member for Lumezi.
Mr. Speaker, Permit me to start by opposing this report, basing my authorities from the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia, Part 1, Supremacy of the Constitution. This Constitution is the supreme law of the Republic of Zambia, and any other written law, customary law, and customary of practice that is inconsistent with its provisions is void to the extent of the inconsistency. 1.2, Mr. Speaker, every person has a right and duty to defend this Constitution. Mr. Speaker, this institution called August House is a creation of the Republican Constitution. Mr. Speaker, much earlier, members debated on the composition of this particular report. Members that are made up of having drafted this report, Mr. Speaker, in defending the Constitution, we must be impartial. Mr. Speaker, we make the law, and in the same vein, we abrogate the law. Mr. Speaker, with a heavy heart, I must mention that from here, I'm going to withdraw my membership from this committee. This House has independent members of Parliament, and when you look at the composition of those that pay a little bit of money to this committee, we are not considered. This committee, in a fair society, should have been withdrawn. Parliament is not made up of the UPND and the Patriotic Front. There is PNUP in this House. Then you've got about 13 independent members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I do not know what wisdom was used to arrive at a composition of 5 UPND cadres and 1 PF cadre at the expense of independent cadres. Mr. Speaker, we make laws, and when we make laws, we are not duty-bound to interpret the law. That's not our job. That's a prism of the courts of law. Mr. Speaker, on one hand, you want members on the right to choose who leads on your left. On one hand, you delay to say you are studying the matter to make pronouncements, when the Constitutional Court has said you are only notified. And then we are seated here pretending that we save the Zambian people well. Mr. Speaker, I have received instructions from the kind and respectable people of Lumezi to withdraw from this caucus because it is favoring one crop of cadres that belong to the ruling party, and none of us from the independents that as are paid members are considered. And then on one hand, we want to be seen to be a fair society. Mr. Speaker, we cannot pretend that what is happening is normal. It is a more reason why some members do not even shake hands here, because favoritism is reaching its alarming levels. So, Mr. Speaker, in a normal just society, I would demand that let this report be withdrawn and the composition be reconstituted. Then, us members that are withdrawing our membership fees can be considered. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government to respond.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Interparliamentary Committee Chairman, Mr. Harry Kamboni, for a report well delivered. I have a few comments to discuss this matter. That the IPU, the Interparliamentary Union, has aims and objectives which are generally to safeguard peace and derives positive democratic change through political dialogue and also concrete action. I'm surprised today, Mr. Speaker, because most of the people who debated this particular report in my view, they veered off the content of the report and instead started lamenting about the composition of the report here in Zambia. Mr. Speaker, by definition, democracy is the control of an organization or group by the majority members. Now, coming to whether Zambia has managed to reach the acceptable benchmark or compliance to the rules and regulations of the IPU is what should be the subject matter here. When I look at the composition of the executive, I see that the lamentations by those who were lamenting earlier on may not hold, because we have Mr. Menyani Zulu, an independent member of parliament, who is among the members, and we also have a female, Madam Jacqueline Sabao, who is a member of this particular committee. I am also informed that the person who is screaming question is a member until not so long ago of the international body of the IPU and has been enjoying a lot of travel to these engagements by the IPU. I also have information, Mr. Speaker, to the effect that despite not being members of the IPU committee here, Honorable Member of Parliament for Chawama, Madam Tasila Lungu, has enjoyed travel on this committee. And so has the MP for Kasama, Madam Sibongile Mwamba, has also enjoyed travel on this committee. I also have information that Honorable Jay Banda, who is also an independent, has enjoyed travel on this committee. And also Honorable for Chilanga, Mr. Sipo Klazo. Now, I have heard the lamentation about the shrinking democracy in this country, and Mr. Speaker, they say those who have actually experienced it feel it. I think that when we compare how government was before and how government is today, there could be actually no basis for comparison. And I'll tell you specific examples where at the election of all the international organs, which include the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, the Great Lakes Committee, and indeed the IPU, and also the SADC Parliamentary Forum, it was normal, Mr. Speaker, during the MMD that people would sit around the table and say, can you sponsor he or she who you feel can be part and parcel of this committee? And it is because those of us who have stemmed from opposition for a long, long time can easily compare and contrast how things were before, how things were there in the immediate before and now. Mr. Speaker, after PF took office, only Honorable Minister of Justice today was able to sneak in a position in these international committees. It became a convention by PF that they must exclude everyone who was in the opposition, and they used to say, "Ka voted way," which means the manner in which you vote. I was the whip of the opposition then, Mr. Speaker, and I did lodge a written complaint to then Speaker Dr. Patrick Matibini to show him how the exclusion happened. The answer I received is that it is a democracy. And I just defined the democracy as the control of an organization or a group by the majority members. What is good for the goose, Mr. Speaker, is good for the gander. Today I'm shocked to see that those who are in power, when the Interparliamentary Committee, the IPU subcommittee, came here to investigate human rights abuses on members of parliament in the case of Honorable Kenneth Konga, who has suffered permanent injury and deformity as a result of torturous interrogation at the hands of the state simply because he refused to cooperate with PF. Our lawyer then was the lawyer for UKWA, Mr. Sakwiba Sikota. He's the one who represented those of us who had grievances at the IPU. I suffered at the hands of PF members during a by-election, was put incarcerated in jail for 29 days in Livingstone State Prison for having killed someone I had never met. This is the comparison and the contrasting of how things were then and how things are today. It was this period when Malambo constituency, as well as Petauke Central, enjoyed no representation because Honorable Doris Lia and Honorable Maswa Mwale, and I think Fomulovezi, had no enjoyment of representative because the state then, under patriotic front, simply did not agree to adhere to the constitution that a by-election must be held a certain time after a seat falls vacant. So Petauke Central had no representation for 2 years, Mr. Speaker, under PF. These same ones who just left. Mulavezi had no representation under PF, and the IPU came here to Zambia on this soil to come and investigate those ills. Those things don't happen no more, Mr. Speaker. We have unfettered interaction, friendship with PF. The trouble that I have with those who were complaining is that they have refused that an electoral defeat is no more. We had been defeated maybe once. The rest of the time we believe the election was stolen from us, but we still were subservient. We kept coming to Parliament. We kept pushing for the Zambian people to see the favor of getting the change that we desired, and we got it. Mr. Speaker, our president, as I terminate, is one who has said revenge is for God. If he was an ordinary man, Mr. Speaker, you would have seen people dancing in this country, those who did the wrong things. They would have been on their heels, and this is the reason why it is not shocking, Mr. Speaker, that at the point when the Zambian people did, grace us with the authority of managing their interests and aspirations, half of these same ones were at the border. They had run away, thinking that there will be persecution and also retribution. Today there's none. They are free. They've started coquetting again, calling us names. And it means they are taking the kindness for a weakness. They are taking the kindness for a weakness. My point to this report is, well done, committee members. Do not be swayed. Do not even bother about who's not in the committee or who isn't there. Because the democracy means it is the will of the majority.
Yeah.
Of course, there is an issue of tolerance and accommodation. If you want to be accommodated and you want tolerance to be exercised on yourself, it is only normal that you also behave. And the one who's on the phone now must tell her colleagues that that is my message. If you want to be tolerated, behave. And never to take a government's kindness for a weakness. The president has been totally tolerant on these people who are making a lot of sound bites that are not very good, Mr. Speaker. Well done, committee. Continue. If you are going to run for elections again under this parliamentary union, we'll vote for you in mass. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kalomo Central to wind up debate.
Thank you very much. May I take this opportunity to thank the speakers who were here, but I just have 1 or 2 comments to make. What democracy brings, you have to accept it. If you wished red and you have blue, and that's what democracy has brought, is democracy. Members who are in the executive were democratically elected. Then two, in terms of the whole committee is compliant with the IPU rules. IPU is very strict. You don't follow one rule, you will not be allowed. So all those that travel comply to the IPU rules. And then the same person saying question traveled with us more than 5 times.
Yeah.
So, and then the last member said no independent member went. That should be corrected, it's wrong. We have 2 members that went. Emmanuel Banda is an independent, went there. Menyan Zuru went also, is an independent. So 2 independent members went in our trip, so it's not correct. Otherwise, I would like to thank all the members that contributed, though some missed the opportunity to really guide the youth on peace, harmony, and democracy. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
I put the question. The question is that this House adopts a report of the Zambian delegation to the 148th IPU Assembly related meetings held in Geneva, Switzerland from 23rd to 27th March 2024 for the 3rd session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 19th June 2024. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. There is a point of order. The point of order?
I had a point of order, Mr. Speaker, earlier on.
It's been overtaken?
Not really, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, the rules of this House, we don't discuss people cannot defend themselves in here. The Honorable Minister for Local Government kept on mentioning the names of people like Councillor Sakwiba and whoever. And we don't mention names of whosoever. So I just thought what the minister was saying, he was not being truthful. Because when we look at our Standing Order 65, we need to be truthful when we speak. And we don't need even to mention the people who are not in the House to defend themselves, Mr. Speaker. So I think, I believe the Honorable Minister was not in order. I know I might not be given that chance. He was not in order. Yes, because you were not in order, you were not in order to mention other people. That was supposed to be my point of order. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I know you want to be presiding officer. You were making a ruling on my behalf. Let's proceed. The clerk will now read the orders of the day.
The Matrimonial Causes Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2024. Second reading.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the bill now be read the second time.
The question is that the bill be read the second time. Any debate? The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much once again, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I'm honored to present a statement to this August House on the ramifications of the Matrimonial Clauses Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 20 of 2024 for the second reading. This bill is an important step in government's efforts to enacting legislation that protects our children against early marriages. Government believes that no child should be made to enter any marriage, but that all children should have the opportunity to receive an education, grow up in a safe and nurturing environment, and reach their full potential without the burden of early marriage. Sir, The amendment of the Matrimonial Clauses Act number 20 of 2007 seeks to align the Matrimonial Clauses Act of 2007 with the Children's Code Act number 12 of 2022. Section 18 of the Children's Code Act of 2022 does prohibit child marriages, among others. The alignment is a necessity to ensure consistency and clarity in legislation that prohibits child marriage. So, the bill introduces a definition of a child in Section 22 of the Principal Act in order to avoid any ambiguity in defining a child in the Matrimonial Clauses Act. The proposed definition aligns the Children's Codes Act and Article 266 of the Constitution of Zambia, Chapter 1 of the Laws of Zambia. The Constitution defines a child as one person who has attained or is below the age of 18, and the Children's Code Act has the meaning assigned to the word of the Constitution. In the same vein, sir, the bill seeks to amend Section 27 of the Matrimonial Clauses Act of 2007 in order to set out the grounds upon which the marriage between two parties, either of whom is a child, can be considered void, and thereby a decree of nullity can be rendered by the court. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I submit to this August House that the Matrimonial Clauses Act Amendment Bill of 2024 is progressive, and I therefore urge the House to give it full support so as to prohibit and protect our children from the vice of child marriage and ensure consistency of legislation to this effect. I now wish to extend my sincere commendation to the members of this House and also the various committees for the work that has been undertaken on this bill this far. Government looks forward to the bill's enactment into law, and that will safeguard our children against early marriages. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
Any further debate? The acting chairperson of the Committee on National Guidance and Gender Matters.
Mr. Speaker, in accordance with its terms of reference set out in this National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2/2024, the Committee on National Guidance and Gender Matters considered the Matrimonial Clauses Amendment Bill number 5 of 2024, referred to it on Thursday, 7th March 2024. Mr. Speaker, it is my belief that members have read the report on the committee. I will therefore only highlight a few concerns that the committee encountered while considering the bill. Mr. Speaker, the proposed amendment to the Matrimonial Clause Act of 2007 that the committee was tasked to interrogate are consequential. The aim is to align the Act with the provisions of the Constitution of Zambia in relation to the definition of a child. The Child's Code Act number 12 of 2022, which prohibits child marriage, and the Marriage Act chapter 50 of the Laws of Zambia, which renders a marriage between persons either of whom is a child void. In this regard, the committee welcomes the amendment and recommends that all laws which make reference to a child should be harmonized. A holistic amendment will ensure consistency. The committee observes that the amendment to the Matrimonial Clause Act is in line with the international and regional human rights instruments, including the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, as this august House is well aware the effects of, or is well aware of the effect of child marriage, ranging from, is aware of child marriage in Zambia, which renders a child between persons, either of whom is a child is void. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, repeat. In this regard, the committee welcomes the amendment and renders that all laws which makes reference to a child should be harmonized. A holistic amendment will ensure consistency. The committee observes that the amendment to the Matrimonial Cause Act is in line with the international and regional human rights instruments, including the United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Child, as this august House is aware of the effect of child marriage, ranging from rape, health risks, and poor education to the negative economic outcome, among other effects, warrant strong and prevention measures. The committee hopes that resulting from this amendment, coupled with administrative and other measures to curb child marriage, the government will make significant progress in protecting and promoting child's rights. This will be in the best interest of the child. Mr. Speaker, the insertion of the definition of a child in the Section 2 of the Matrimonial Causes Act is progressive. The committee, however, notes with concern that some key pieces of registration, such as the Penal Code Act, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, do not have the definition of a child in the interpretation section. The committee recommends that the Penal Code Act should be amended as a matter of urgency with regard to the provisions of the definition of a child. This will greatly help in the enforcement of the law against child marriage under or defilement. Mr. Speaker, the committee notes that the bill, once enacted, will operate retrospectively. This withstanding, the committee recommends that the Act should be amended further to put in place measures and interventions to mitigate the effects of child marriage and to protect the child already in marriage. Zambia can consider demonstrating the provisions of the SADC model law on eradicating child marriage and protecting children already in marriage on measures and interventions to mitigate effects of child marriage. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the committee is aware that the socio-economic effects such as high poverty rates and limited education, particularly in rural areas, are key drivers of child marriage. The committee is aware that simply amending the law is not enough insofar as eliminating child marriage is concerned. The committee recommends that the government should consider other policies and initiatives to protect children from child marriage, such as increasing social safety nets to vulnerable families. Further, government and other stakeholders, such as the traditional leaders, who are the custodian of customs and traditions, should undertake robust sensitization campaigns on the dangers of child marriage, coupled with serious reforms of certain traditions and customary laws. Mr. Speaker, the committee wishes to express its gratitude to you, the Clerk of the National Assembly, and the support and services rendered to the committee throughout its deliberation. Gratitude also goes to all stakeholders who gave both written and oral submissions. This greatly assisted the work of the committee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and beg to move.
Any further debate? The Honourable Member for Kanyama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving the people of Kanyama an opportunity to talk on the matter that is before us on the table. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to waste the time of the House, but allow me to make mention that I think the fight against, vices that are assigned to a child has been an ongoing issue, and what has come according to my research, is the fact that a child's definition and its age has been, problematic in our Zambian context. You realize that the Constitution will define a child differently and will give a particular age. The Marriage Act will give you a different definition, and the age itself, the Penal Code will. So you realize that a child remains vulnerable. Mr. Speaker, anything to do with a child, even the courts, each time they're talking about a child, you're talking about adoption or whatever it is, the final issue that will come should be to the best interest of a child. A child should be protected. A child is someone who is vulnerable to each and every attack. And if we don't sit down and look at the plight of a child, look at how best we can protect a child, Mr. Speaker, I think these fights, these talks, the reports that your committees, come up with will just be rhetoric. Let us be practical. I've liked the way the report is framed, where we're talking about consolidating, harmonizing all these fragmented, acts that are talking about a child to have one voice. And once we have got that, the issue of child marriage will be a thing of the past. The issue of punishing a child will be a thing of the past. Why? Because you don't need to start looking at volumes of laws that will define or that will give an age or assign an age to a child. So, Mr. Speaker, let us be serious on this fight. Let us assign one definition of who a child is. Let us give an age limit as to where a child is, and realize that once we come up with that, Mr. Speaker, I think the issue, the vulnerability of a child, whether in marriage, theft, whatever offense, I think it will be a thing of the past. Mr. Speaker, I submit.
The Honourable Member for Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving the good people of Mbabala an opportunity to add their voice and support the amendment to the Matrimonial Causes Act as the EBRI presented by the Home Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Nkombo, and also fully supported by Honorable Harwindi. Mr. Speaker, as the Mbabala people and also as a representative of the Children's Caucus here at Parliament and focal person on ending child marriage, I do support this amendment to the Matrimonial Causes Act, as well as like we did last year to the Marriage Act, in order to bring about the harmonization to the Constitution, the Child Code Act, the Penal Code, and many other related legislation. Because as lawmakers, we must ensure that these laws speak to the same detail, and the streamlining of the definition of a child is a very important milestone in the history of child rights in Zambia. This is something that we have advocated for over 30, 40 years, and it has only come to fruition under the New Dawn government, thanks to President Hakainde Hichilema, who assented to this law and who has continued to provide guidance and support in this area. Child marriage is real, especially for us in rural areas. We have seen it with our own eyes. Just this weekend when I was during the 4 days holiday, I found one such case in my constituency, which I'm pursuing As such, we need to now move to the next steps in terms of ensuring that the revisions we have done in terms of child-friendly revisions, so that the children as users of this law need to understand the law themselves, the Child Code Act, as well as a simplified version that would be easy for other people to also understand this law, and many other forms of sensitization. I wish to commend the First Lady, Mrs. Mutintai Chirema, for launching the Ending Child Marriage campaign with the House of Chiefs. Last year we signed a pact as Parliamentary Caucus on Children, supported by UNICEF and other child rights organizations such as Generation Alive and others. We signed a pact with the House of Chiefs, and would like this pact to go further, to create a template bylaw for the traditional leaders, so that they can tap from that template bylaw that helps them to deal and make within their traditional bylaws laws against child marriage. That is one of the measures that is going to ensure that this amendment reaches the children is intended to serve. As Ebri put by Honorable Chinkuri, we need to protect the children because they are vulnerable and they are not able to make good judgment at that age when they are still children. And the person who is in an advantage, such as the older persons, can easily take advantage of the children. Therefore, in protecting the children, we need to ensure that these children are fully sensitized. We need to ensure that every law enforcement agency is fully aware. We are aware recently that Zambia police was found not to have been fully aware about this Code Act. Would like this Code Act to be part of the training at Lidai, so that they can understand, and other police training institutions, so that they can understand this law and be able to deal with the issues effectively when they are presented at police stations, including the safety and security of the children, the privacy of the children, and other investigation requirements that should ensure that we get convictions where children have been abused, raped, and the like. I think we have seen almost every month there is a video that circulates about some abuse of some children. I think recently there was a case from Chikankata, which is at UTH. There was another one just this past week where some older man had taken some young girl to the bush and the like. So these cases need proper investigation, and we need to see to it that the people who are propagating these cases are sentenced to jail, so that we can continue to show relevance of these laws we are making here as a country. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I urge this House to, as we support this amendment, to ensure that we have very good post-legislation support to these processes to ensure that they are implemented and is serving the interest of the child. In the best interest of the child, we need to ensure that our children are safe and protected in this. Reduce junkies, like what happened. Junkies as we have several examples which we are all over, and some of them we are working out. Those are examples of junkies that came into our midst as a country, and so we need to put the right things that will build character in our children. We need to build character. That's how we build good citizens. If we start intervening early as 3 months, a child needs to be supported. As early as they are conceived, they need to be supported. If we support them all the way, we'll build character in our children, and we'll build children that add value and are going to contribute to national economy. Otherwise, if we don't follow up with the very good ways to reach out to the traditions and the other processes, then we will have lost it. So I urge the House, and I commend government for this work which has been done. This is a milestone work by the UPND New Dawn government, which has shown the love and interest they have in protecting children. And for this, we commend Hon Minister, and we want this country to continue on this trajectory of progress on things that had stood for over 30, 40 years, but now under the New Dawn UPND government, they are being done properly. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you for allowing the voice of Chiengi to be heard on this very important debate. Mr. Speaker, we've heard a lot of bills being brought on the floor of the House and regarding early child marriages and how to our Mr. Speaker, I think it's about time that we saw real action. We're molesting the young ones who are busy pregnanting the to jail for. In fact, let me just put it this way. We recently passed a bill here for cattle hustlers that they should be supposed to defile the This has been Zambian. This has been a pain to see a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, 16-year-old, 18, even 20 maybe, leaving her education to be married off by the parents. There was a bill which came here and we said such parents should be also, get arrested. I'm yet to hear how many our chiefs or headmen have reported with the parents who've married off their children at early age who have been arrested. Nothing that has happened yet. I'm yet to hear that report. Maybe it should start from there, that we need to give also the powers to the headmen and also the chiefs to do maybe civil arrest for these who are busy doing the early marriages or the parents who are marrying off their children. Maybe that will start from there, then they'll get the message to be a serious message. We've had seminars, we've had workshops, and when we call for these workshops, we call the chiefs, we call the maybe elected civic leaders, and yet we are leaving the main culprits. The main culprits are the majority of the parents. Those are the main culprits. How do we extend an invitation and reach out to them to stop this? We need to get all the headmen, whoever is the headman, to attend such workshops. Because if we're only inviting the top leadership, the message will not really reach out to those people. So if we get the headman will know who lives where, and they will know who has married off her child or his child at an early age. And they can report that directly, to the police, and other things follow. But as it is now, the people that we invite for such workshops and seminars are people who does not even know, some will not even know what is happening at a certain village. So I think to start with, this is where it should start from, because we are not facing this challenge in the urban areas, even in the peri-urban, but where this problem is in the deep rural areas like our constituencies where we are coming from. So I think what should be done, the government should look at empowering the headmen with such information and knowledge, and it starts from there, because the headmen will have a group of people that they can take and talk to, and like when we get the top leadership. That's all I wanted to add on, and I want to say I do support this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, wind up debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's left to me to simply thank all the debaters, starting with Honorable Piri, right up to Honorable Katuta, who have debated in support of this particular bill. I'm truly indebted to yourselves, and thank you very much.
I put is that the bill now be read a second time. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Let the bill be read a second time.
The Matrimonial Causes Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2024.
Committee stage to be taken when?
Tomorrow, Mr. Speaker.
Committee stage to be taken tomorrow.
On Friday, Mr. Speaker, I beg your pardon.
Committee stage to be taken on Friday. Next order.
Report of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply on the road freight in Zambia. Motion of 28th June. Resumption of debate.
When business was interrupted on Friday, 28th June 2020,
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. In responding and addressing the issues that were raised by the committee, I would like to summarize their concerns as follows. That they observed there was a weak monitoring mechanism of the enforcement of the provisions of the statutory instrument number 35 of 2021 and the implementation of the reservation scheme that is supposed to be intentionally made to benefit the local operators. They also were concerned about the review of the realignment of the relevant pieces of legislation that govern the freight transporter sector in Zambia to enhance their effectiveness. They were also, Mr. Speaker, concerned about the position of Zambia Cargo Logistics Company Limited as a hub of all freight movements requirements in and outside of this country. And they are also desirous that it be made as a hub for backloads through the regulation of backloads. They were also concerned about the establishment and modernization of dry ports. They were also concerned about government and the need to promote intermodal interface between the road, rail, and other modes of transport to enable a more flexible and comprehensive, seamless approach to freight management. Mr. Speaker, I wish to just inform through the floor of this House, the committee, that the concern about the reservation scheme is a matter that government holds extremely important. And this is the reason why, Mr. Speaker, in April this year, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, together with a number of ministers who included the Minister of Logistics and Transport and Logistics himself, who I'm acting on behalf of, myself as Minister responsible for bus stations and markets, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, the Minister of Sports, as well as the Minister of Small, had an interaction at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium on a whole day long workshop where the President interacted not only with truck owners, but also with truck drivers, with also public service drivers, bus owners, and all those that were felt to be important in the transportation sector under one roof. It was at this meeting, Mr. Speaker, that the President heard for himself the concerns about the reservation scheme. And because this was important, the President permitted each one of us to make a presentation to the gathering on how we intend to meet them at their point of need in order for us to achieve the reservation scheme. And I'm glad to report, Mr. Speaker, that post this particular engagement, a smaller committee was established, a liaison committee that was going to deal with this issue in order to meet the aspirations of the bus, the truck owners, truck drivers, and those who are related to this particular industry. And I'm glad to report that soon, and very soon, a report will be made public for everyone to see why government is very enthusiastic to make sure that we meet the aspirations of this subsector. Mr. Speaker, I will be failing if I don't emphasize that ever since Zambia became a republic, President Hichilema is the only president who has had such an engagement with the sector owners. And I'm quite certain that things will work. In their lamentation, Mr. Speaker, the debaters, the honorable members of parliament, did mention about the fronting of foreign local citizens by foreign transport owners. Unfortunately, this is a very difficult matter to deal with because as far as we are concerned, we rely on information that is contained at the PACRA office to know who the real owner of this transport is. So it is up to our fellow Zambians who agree, if they do, to be fronted to make sure that the smooth operation of this reservation order can happen only if they do not masquerade as transport owners when they're just being used as fronts. Just as an example, Cabinet has discussed this matter at its level, where we have said that in this current importation of grain to address the issue of drought response, as much as possible, we must use the Zambian transporters in order to percolate the economy among the players in this subsector. On the second concern, the government through the World Bank project, chairman of the committee, Transport Corridors for the Economic Resilience Tracer project has been commenced. The process of reviewing the National Transport Policy 2019 to address the missing links on logistics and related matters. These include, and not limited to, warehousing, handling, insurance, and so on and so forth. The position of Zamcargo. The government has already commenced the process of strategically positioning Zambia Cargo and Logistics Company Limited by moving its headquarters from Dar es Salaam to Zambia. The government has also started facilitating the Zamcargo to start operating other offices in the region, such as the dry port in Walvis Bay, Namibia. And also government is intending to establish other dry ports in strategic areas such as border towns, including inland borders like Kapimposhi, Kasumbalesa, Chipata, Nakonde, as well as Kazungula. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, allow me to assure the House and the nation at large that government will endeavor to address these challenges that our local transporters are facing and improve their prospects for them to compete favorably with other players from outside of our borders. This is why the New Dawn government administration under the able leadership of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has engaged all the 8 neighboring countries, including South Africa, Burundi, and Rwanda, to ensure that the challenges are expeditiously dealt with when they do arise. To this effect, we have come to this August House to ratify various regional transport corridor agreements, and we are extremely grateful to your committee, which I believe is the heart and soul of every parliament, for approving the ratification of the Walvis Bay Ndola Lubumbashi Corridor Agreement and the Lobito Bay Transport Corridor Agreement. Your committee is currently considering the Beira, Nakala, and Central Corridor transport agreements, which we hope will be supported as connectivity in the region will also be enhanced. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to respond and also for the members' time.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The Honorable Member for Shangombo to wind up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the second of the motion, Honorable George Chibuye, the MP for Ron, the Acting Minister of Transport and Logistics, Honorable Garin Kombo, Honorable Menyani Zulu for Nyimba, and all the members of Parliament who debated this motion. Mr. Speaker, I would like to urge the Executive to act on the concerns that were raised by the stakeholders and your committee. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
I put the question. The question is, order, that this House adopts a report of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply on the road fleet in Zambia for the third session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 26th June 2024. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. The acting leader of government business adjournment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
As no notice of an item for debate on the motion of adjournment of the House has been received, I put the question. The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate, any objection? The question is agreed to. The House is now adjourned.
Thank you so much for being with us on Parliament's television. The House has adjourned to tomorrow at 14:30. But before we leave, a recap of what has been considered on the floor of the House when business resumed at 14:30.
We did have some announcements that were made by the first Deputy Speaker. She did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Angela's Nursery and Primary School in Kansenshi Extension in Dola District. Also, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, Madam Speaker welcomed the visitors in our midst.
The other announcement that Madam Speaker made was to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Wakulumpe Kindergarten and Primary School in Liwala Stage 3 in Lusaka District. And on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, Madam First Deputy Speaker did warmly welcome the visitors to the National Assembly of Zambia.
matters without notice, and Her Honor the Vice President did move a motion that this House places President of the Republic of to the House on Friday, 20th June 2024, and those were some of the members of Parliament that debated this particular motion that was moved by Her Honor the Vice President. Include Mongo Central Member of Parliament, Mr. Mutike, Home Affairs and Internal Security Minister, Honorable Jack Mwimbu, Chidwi MP, Mr. Fube, and Local Government and Road Development Minister, Honorable Gary Nkombo, just to mention but a few.
After the consideration of that motion, the House did proceed to consider the second motion, and this motion was moved by Kalombo Central Member of Parliament, Mr. Harry Kamboni. He is the chairperson of the parliamentary delegation to the 148th Interparliamentary Union IPU Assembly, urging the House to adopt the report of the Zambian delegation to the 148th IPU Assembly and related meetings, which was held in Geneva, Switzerland, from 23rd to 27th March 2024 for the third session of the 13th National Assembly. This document was laid on the table of the House on the 9th of June 2024. It was seconded by Kasama Central Member of Parliament, Ms. Mwangile Mwamba, and we did see quite a number of members of Parliament debating, and when the question was put, the motion was adopted.
Thereafter, we had consideration of the Matrimonial Causes Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2024, which came up at second reading stage. It has since passed this stage, and committee stage will be taken this week on Friday, that's the 5th of July 2024.
If you've been following parliamentary proceedings and you were with us last week on Friday, you do remember that Mr. Muvika, who is Shangombo Member of Parliament, did move a motion urging the House to adopt the report. And this was from the Committee on Transport Works and Supply on the road freight in Zambia, and that was on the 28th of June 2024. And at the time business was interrupted last week on Friday, it was the acting Minister of Transport and Logistics, Honorable Gary Nkombo, was on the floor of the House debating. So today there was resumption of the consideration of that report, and we've since concluded on that report, and the report has been adopted. So basically that has been the business for today, Claudette.
Absolutely. Would like to thank you as always for your time. Until tomorrow, it's bye-bye and God bless you.
Where judgment is constant and opinions are plenty, I face the critics head on.
And we're sitting down with a personality who is also a producer and entrepreneur. Her name is Mutale Mwanza.
I am Mutale Mwanza. I stand tall, and I refuse to let the chaos of life break my spirit.
You know what?
To shutting down the haters.
Can you say that? I am multiple dating.
The future is exciting as I blaze a trail of success, proving that every challenge is just another opportunity for greatness as I build my legacy.
I'll be going to Malawi.
What is happening with this tiger?
Mutale Mwanza Unscripted, Season 2.
This month on DSTV Premium, UEFA Euro 2024 kicks off in Germany as footballing legends vie for continental supremacy.
Oh, that's stunning!
The madcap panel of comics are back to retell hilarious stories from their formative years.
Gonna be blowing the whistle on their adolescent shuttle.
And the epic prequel to Game of Thrones returns as civil war threatens to tear House Targaryen apart.
I mean to fight this war.
There's so much to enjoy